Welcome to Ganitika.com. This is a website for mathematics lovers, learners, and leaders. This is the fourth video in the series of videos on the solution to paper 3 questions for AAHL. In this video, I'll be solving question 2 of May 2021 Time Zone 1 paper 3. Links to the previous 3 videos are given in the description below. They cover specimen paper 3, both the questions, and question 1 of this paper, May 2021 Time Zone 1. In these videos, I will be giving you some tips on time management and thinking process as well, along with the solutions. Before we start, please have a printed copy of this paper 3 question 2 with you, and a notebook, pen, and a GTC would be better so that you can solve this question along with me. If you are ready, let's proceed with this video. This question carries a total of 28 marks, which means you have 28 to 30 minutes to solve this question, because in this question paper, you have total of 55 marks for 60 minutes. Approximately, you have 1 minute per mark. The previous question was for 27 marks, and you would have taken 27 to 30 minutes for that. So the remaining 30 minutes are there for you to solve this question. And you would want to go back and review your answers, so you might not have the full 30 minutes to solve this question. Keep in mind that you have 25 to 28 minutes to solve this question. It is better if you solve this within 25 minutes so that the last 5 minutes can be used for reviewing your answers. So let's proceed. This question asks you to examine various polygons for which the numerical value of the area is the same as the numerical value of the perimeter. For example, if you consider a rectangle of dimension 3 by 6, the area of this rectangle would be 18 and the perimeter also would be 18. Therefore, the numerical value of the area is equal to the numerical value of the perimeter in this case. So it happens only for one particular dimension of the rectangle. In the same way, for various polygons, you have specific dimensions for which A equal to P, and this is what we are going to explore in this particular question. And it is also given that for each polygon in this question, let the numerical value of area be A and that of perimeter be P. Therefore, we are going to have A equal to P in these questions. This is a very simple question for the beginning. We have a square of side S, and in this square we have A equal to P. So let's make a quick diagram of a square of side S. So the area of this square is going to be S square and P is going to be 4S. Since A equal to P, we can equate these two and make an equation S square equal to 4S, and solving this you will get S is equal to 4. Since S is not equal to 0, you have one solution, S is equal to 4 for this. Therefore, a square of side 4 units will always have its area and perimeter to have the same numerical value. And this numerical value is going to be 16 in this case, just for an extra information. So proceeding further, there is an information again. An n-sided regular polygon can be divided into n congruent isosceles triangles. Let's see what this means by using a hexagon. A regular hexagon, remember this is only for regular polygons, therefore we are going to consider a regular hexagon, can be cut into 6 isosceles triangles like this, joining the center of the hexagon to the edges of the hexagon. All the 6 triangles are isosceles and the angle in the center is divided by 6. Therefore, the triangle has an angle of 2 pi over 6 in each of them. This is also shown by a diagram in the question itself. Since this is given for n-sided regular polygon, it will be helpful if you understand this by using a simpler polygon such as pentagon or hexagon as I drew now. So, for an n-sided polygon, you can see an isosceles triangle with x as the equal sides and y as the side of the polygon. You can also notice that the angle of the isosceles triangle is 2 pi over n because the polygon has n sides. Therefore, the 2 pi is divided by n to make the angle for one isosceles triangle. So this is the condition that we have now, and we know that we are going to deal with the area of the polygon and perimeter of the polygon. So let's make a quick note what the area is going to be and what the perimeter is going to be. A is going to be n times the area of each of these triangles. Perimeter is going to be n times y, where y is one side of the regular polygon. So this is what we are going to do in this question. So keep this in mind. and this is going to be another simple question. It's just for 1 mark. We are going to find an expression for the area of this isosceles triangle. So if we bring the picture here as we have in the question paper, we have a triangle with 2 sides and included angle. So we can use trigonometric formula for area, which gives you half times x times sine 2 pi over n. In short, it is half x square sine 2 pi over n, and this is the expression for one triangle AT. And notice that we were supposed to give the expression in terms of x and n only, and we can check that it is in terms of x and n. Therefore, the question is okay here, and it's just for 1 mark. So far, the 4 marks of the question are very easy to acquire. The next question is asking you to write the side of the polygon in terms of x and n. When you look at the diagram, the y is here and x and the angles are here. So 3 sides and 1 angle is what you have. So you would think of going for cosine rule. But in cosine rule, you can notice that you will not get sine value, but you will get cos of 2 pi over n. It's not even pi over n, but you will get 2 pi over n. So it's better not to consider cosine rule to solve this question, because the value of the angle is pi over n here. It's not 2 pi over n, and also we don't have cos, we have sine here. Even if you use cosine rule, you will eventually get this expression, but it will be a longer way for 2 marks. So let's go the shorter way. We need pi over n. Therefore, let's split this angle into half, and this line is going to be perpendicular to the base, and therefore this angle is going to be pi over n, and this side is going to be half of y. So we have a right angle triangle with these measurements. Pause the video here and try to use the basic trigonometric function to get the expression for y as stated in the question. So this is going to be in terms of sine. Therefore, we are going to use sine ratio. Sine of the angle is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, y over 2 over x. Simplifying this, you will get 2x sine pi over n as y. And this is what we want for the question. And this is for just 2 marks. So far, the first 6 marks were not very difficult to solve. Consider a n-sided regular polygon such that a equal to p, again a equal to p, and it is regular polygon. Using the results from part B, in part B you got the area of each of the isosceles triangle in this way, and in part C you got the expression for y in this way, and a equal to p is going to be the condition. So let's write down what is a going to be, n times at, and p is going to be n times y. And if you substitute the expression into at and y, you will get the expression for a and p like this. But look at the question. It says a equal to p, but not in terms of sine, but it's in terms of tan. And the angle is also pi over n, not 2 pi over n. And you should have noticed that it doesn't have any x term in it. Therefore, we need to first of all isolate x from these two expressions a and p by using a equal to p condition. So writing them both on either side, you can see that x can be isolated like this. So once you have isolated x like this, and you have the condition for a, for p, a equal to p and x, these are the things that we have now, and we are supposed to prove that both a and p are supposed to be 4n tan pi over n. So from here to here, how can we go? This is what you need to think now. Using the expression for x, can we change the expression for a and p to 4n tan pi over n? This is what you need to think now. We can substitute the x expression into either a or p. It's easy to substitute in p because it has only one x value. So substituting and simplifying, again pause the video here, simplify and see if you can come to the conclusion that a equal to p equal to 4n tan pi over n. Simplifying this further, you'll get this, but still you don't have tan pi over n here. It's still looking complicated. But if you look at the denominator part, this is nothing but sine 2 theta, which can be written as 2 sine theta cos theta. In this case, theta is pi over n, and simplifying this further, you will be getting 4n tan pi over n. So this is simple question, but you need to just remember that a equal to p should be used to isolate x, and you should go back to the same a or p expression to input the x expression in it, and then simplify to 4n tan pi over n. This is slightly difficult because the idea should click in your mind during the examination time. But if you think in the right direction, you will surely get the idea. You are given the expansion for tan x in Maclaurin's form. Substitute the expansion for tan x into tan pi over n. In the place of x, you will have pi over n from the expression above, and rewriting this in terms of pi over n and simplifying this by multiplying this n to each of the terms. You can pause the video and find the limit by yourself and then check your answer. So the multiplication is going to give you this expression. Now that all these terms are having n in the denominator, and as n tends to infinity, these terms would become 0. Therefore, the final limit would be 4 pi. So this is your answer for E1. The value of this limit is 4 pi. And what are we going to do for question 2? We are going to interpret this answer geometrically. From question E1, we understood that 4n tan pi over n became 4 pi, the area or the perimeter of the polygon as n tends to infinity was equal to 4 pi. So the polygon's area or perimeter became 4 pi as n tend to infinity. What is n? N is the number of sides. So as number of sides tend to infinity, we have the area or the perimeter is equal to 4 pi. We know that as number of sides tend to infinity, the polygons become circles. So a polygon becomes a circle as the number of sides are infinite. This is already known to us, and this is what is being tested in this particular question, whether you know this concept or not. And also the area of the circle or the perimeter of the circle is going to be 4 pi, in which case the radius of this circle is going to be 2. Your answer is going to be, as n tends to infinity, the polygon becomes a circle of radius 2 units. This is what you are going to write as answer for E2 question. Consider a right angle triangle with side lengths a, b and square root of a square plus b square. Obviously, using Pythagoras theorem, the hypotenuse is going to be square root of a square plus b square, such that the area is equal to p. We are still in area equal to p condition, but now we have moved on to a right angle triangle. In this case, it is not an equilateral triangle. We have to show that a equal to an expression in terms of b, which means we have to find a in terms of b. Simply speaking, so the condition is a equal to p and it is a right angle triangle. So let's draw the diagram of this condition. A and b are the legs of the right angle triangle, and square root of a square plus b square is going to be the hypotenuse of the right angle triangle. And now we have a equal to p. Using the formula for a and using the formula for p, a is half times a times b and p is adding up all the three sides. We need to make a the subject from this equation. This can be done in different ways. I'm just going to first of all take away the half and multiply it to the other side, and in that case I'll get ab equal to 2a plus 2b plus 2 times root of a square plus b square. You can see that the square root of a square plus b square needs to be eliminated first, because the square root is not going to help us in making a or b isolated. So let's collect all the terms other than the square root terms to one side and keep only the square root term on the other side, and then square on both sides. This will help us to get rid of the square root. This is a simple algebra. You would have learnt it in earlier years. Now pause the video again here, simplify these two expressions and make a the subject and write a in terms of b. I hope you are ready. You might not have got the answer given in the question, but you might have got something of this type. 4b minus 8 over b minus 4 is what you would have got. From here you have to simplify it to the form a over b minus 4 plus 4. Again, there are multiple ways of doing this. You can write minus 8 as minus 16 plus 8 and then you can simplify that. That's one way of doing it. But I would prefer to divide the numerator by the denominator and do the polynomial division and use division algorithm to write this in this form, which is the same form as given in the question. This looks easier for me than manipulating minus 8 as minus 16 plus 8. Again, the process is left to you. You can use any method to simplify 4b minus 8 over b minus 4 to this expression. Going further, question number G. Using the results of part F, which is this result or otherwise, determine the three sides of lengths of only two right-angled triangles. So there is going to be only two such triangles for which the sides are going to be integers, as well as where a is equal to p. With all these conditions, there are only two such right-angled triangles possible. So we are going to find those two right-angled triangles, in which case we are going to find the measure of the sides of these two right-angled triangles. In this case, you can see that you have to use part F for this. Using this part F expression, a should be an integer and b is also going to be an integer. Since a is an integer, the part a over b minus 4 should also be an integer, so that adding it with 4 will give you an integer value for a. And also note that this gives you that b minus 4 should be less than or equal to 8, because if it is more than 8, it becomes a fraction. And also it should be more than 4 so that it doesn't give you a negative value. Therefore, using these two conditions, your b value should be between 4 and 12, including 12 and not including 4. So the values of b are going to be 5, 6, 7, 8 all the way to 12. So let's start substituting the values one by one. B equal to 5 gives you a equal to 12, which means the sides are going to be 5, 12 and 13. If b is equal to 6, a is equal to 8, and the sides are going to be 6, 8 and 10. And these satisfy the condition for the right angle triangles, but we need to go on for b value until 12. So pause the video here and find the values for a and b and the third side using other b values. For example, b equal to 7 will not give a as integer value, therefore this is not possible. Proceed further. Pause the video and you can proceed. And once you finish all the values for b from 5 to 12, you will notice that 6, 8, 10 and 5, 12, 13 are repeated. There are only two right angle triangles with sides 5, 12, 13 and 6, 8, 10 in this question. We can also do the same question in a different way. So this is the result of part F. Using this result and simplifying this in this way as two linear products, we know that 8 can be written in two forms, 4 times 2 and 8 times 1. So a minus 4 can be 4 and b minus 4 could be 2 or otherwise, and this gives you 8, 6 and 10 as the sides. On the other way, if a minus 4 equal to 8 and b minus 4 equal to 1, you could have used the other way around as well. This gives you a equal to 12, b equal to 5, giving you 5, 12, 13 as the sides of the right angle triangle. And you see that these are the only two right angle triangles possible for this condition. The last question is determine the area and perimeter of these two right angle triangles, which is going to be very simple. The area expression is half times a times b and perimeter is adding up all the three sides. And using the two results that we got in first question, substitute the values. We get both the numerical values to be 30 and here we get the numerical values of a and p to be 24. And in this case we know that a equal to p, therefore it is not necessary to use this to find the value. We can just simply use the perimeter, which is easier to calculate. So just use the perimeter to find the area and perimeter of these two triangles. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.